About a month ago, we talked about the story of the anti-woke bank that a group of conservatives had started, led, of course, by Nick Iers, who happens to be Mike Pence's former chief of staff. They started this anti-woke bank called Glorify that was supposed to be all about patriotism. We weren't going to worry about the wokeness that has somehow infected all these other major banks in the country. And we're just going to give people a good old-fashioned patriotic hometown bank. And a month ago, we talked about the fact that it was on the verge of bankruptcy. Well, guess what, folks? They are now officially out of money. And they will be shutting down very, very soon. Turns out that this group, this anti-woke bank, filled a need that didn't exist. Which, of course, is why it went belly up in basically record time for a bank here in the United States. Oh, and one of the major funders of it was none other than Kelly Loeffler, the former Republican senator from the state of Georgia who got shellacked in the January 2021 runoff. So Loeffler's money couldn't save it. All of the other investors' money couldn't save it. They've blown through the money. God knows where it went. I'm willing to bet we're probably going to have a couple investigations to find out where the millions and millions and millions of dollars went, because we know you didn't build an actual brick and mortar bank. You didn't have to buy real estate. You were running it out of some dude's house. So where'd the money go, Nick Iers? Now that we know the group has basically gone bankrupt and will be shutting down, I think it's time to start asking those real questions. You had millions of dollars given to you to start essentially an online bank. Okay, so you had to build a website. You had to buy the website name, and I imagine it's probably a premium, so you probably paid, $5,000 for the web address. Probably had to pay another $5,000 to, basically make the template of the website. You had to host it, depending on where you're hosting it. That's going to cost you, a couple $100 a month, maybe. And I imagine the infrastructure on the website, if you did it well, probably cost a couple $100,000. Okay. There's still tens of millions that's not accounted for then. Nick, where'd the money go, buddy? Because you better have an answer for that when the investigators come knocking on your door. And again, a bank going bankrupt is typically something that is going to get the SEC interested to find out just where all the money went. And I'm sure all the investors are probably thinking about maybe filing a lawsuit because you took all their money and lost it, and they want to know where it went. But aside from the fact that Nick Iers probably has some legal problems coming up in his future, let's talk about the anti-woke crusade that these Republicans are on, right? They think that everything that is not 100% Republican is somehow woke. They can't tell you what woke means. I love to ask them this question because none of them can give you a straight answer. None of them can give you the same answer as the person prior to either. They don't know what it means because it doesn't mean anything. And to claim that you're finally starting an anti-woke bank, somehow implying that all of these other banks out there are woke, the same banks that engage in systemic racism in their lending practices, that still happens today, the same banks that have been busted laundering money for terrorists around the globe. Yes, those are all real things that have happened, and they've happened recently. And you're going to tell me those banks are somehow woke? The same banks that are still giving money hand over fist to Republican candidates, those are woke? No! Which, of course, is why you created a product that nobody used because there wasn't an actual need for it. Republicans on Newsmax this past week claimed that Disney went broke because it went woke. Well, turns out Disney made $23 billion this past quarter. Oh, excuse me, that was their profit so far for the year of 2022. They made $9 billion last quarter. And the reason I bring that up is because conservatives like to label, again, everything they hate as woke. And then they tell us that woke doesn't work. We need anti-woke. Okay. Well, the companies that you claim were woke, that are not, are making billions of dollars, whereas your anti-woke companies have literally gone broke. So maybe it's time to rethink your talking points. Maybe it's time to rethink your business strategies, because clearly something ain't working. And you guys are just really, really bad at everything you do. Unless, of course, it's swindling money from investors. In that case, Republicans are awesome at it. But there's always people that come knocking wanting answers as to where all that money went. And I'm sure Mr. Nick Iers can expect those knocks to happen very soon. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share. But again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.